What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftkings MMA picks for UFC 254, and I'm feeling great coming off of a fantastic week. Last week was able to get a takedown. I know a lot of people tied for that takedown. I think there was like a 38 or like a 39 person tie for that first place, but first place regardless, can't complain there. And it was also awesome to see a lot of people in the Discord was able to tie with me in first place. So good to see those guys in there get it done. Had a lot of people message me as well saying they did great. A lot of the core plays hit. Zion was on the winning lineup, somebody I was very high on, and necessarily didn't think he won, but it was cool seeing Zion on the winning lineup there. And Andrade went out there and got it done. A ton of people were on Chukagan. Andrade with the first round finish was awesome to see. I had a ton of Andrade. I had a ton of Crute, and it was just a great week. Cash hit as well, very, very easily. Andrade was actually the lowest owned in my cash lineup, and she got it done. So, hopefully continuing the success going into this card here, UFC 254. Hopefully another takedown would be awesome, especially with the contest being bigger. And with that said, we have a contest going on. I like to do it on every pay-per-view. What you need to do to enter that contest is first, like this video. Next, subscribe if you are not subscribed yet. And then third, comment down your DraftKings username. I put it out on my prediction video as well if you already commented there. You don't need to here. Added a lot more spots so I can get a lot more people in for this contest. $25 the first. Not much, just something to show thanks. I like doing these contests for every big card here. So if you have not yet, comment down your DraftKings name. I'll get you in there as soon as possible. But we are going to get right into the breakdown here. Like I said, I'm very, very excited for this card. We have a fantastic main event. The card as a whole, you'd like to see a little bit more name value there, but I think a lot of the fights are going to be very, very exciting. And we'll definitely talk about them, but as always, we're going to get into the fight doesn't go to decision lines. And up top, we have Ion Cutelaba versus Magomed Ankalaev here. And this is a fight that should probably finish. Whether it is Cutelaba getting it done early or Ankalaev probably getting it done late. I can honestly even see Ankalaev winning a decision. Just taking a look at some of the stats here, Ankalaev has finished only 62% of his wins, 54% by knockout, 8% by submission there. So if he does win, it's probably in that second or third round, which he could score decently high, I guess, but I would not be completely shocked if he did win a decision. And just taking a look at he's 8,900, a lot of great plays up in this higher range. You got Khabib up there. You got Phil Haas, someone we'll talk about. You got Da Un Jung, someone we'll talk about. Miranda Maverick, Joel Alvarez even. I think Ankalaev's a good play. It's just there's other plays I like a little bit more. And as for the Cutelaba side, we'll talk about him, but I do think he's a good pump play because he's going to be very dangerous in round one. And if he does win, it's probably in round one, and he's going to break the slate there. So, a fight I do want to target. Next, we got Da Un Jung versus Sam Alvey. Minus 350, fight doesn't go to decision, which, again, it kind of surprises me because I could see, Jung winning a decision there. Alvey is very tough. He's been knocked out 3 times in 47 fights. Has a solid chin. And Da Un Jung, he's a decent finisher. He's finished 92% of his wins. He's a big volume guy. He lands almost 7 significant strikes per minute. And just watching tape on Jung, he has a very good chin, very good output. And I'm not going to be playing much Sam Alvey. I know 6,800 is very tempting. I don't see Alvey knocking him out. Da Un Jung has shown a very good chin. Maybe Alvey could win a decision. I just don't see it. He throws so little output. Da Un Jung throws double the output he does, more than double even. So, this is a fight I like more from the Da Un Jung side. Struve to Ivasa, minus 270, fight doesn't go to decision. And we see a lot of these fights pretty much every week. Fights that are very ugly, fights that are very tough to call, but fights that are going to score well. And this is definitely one of them. It's a heavyweight fight. If Tuivasa wins, it's probably going to be in round one, because outside of round one, he definitely slows down a ton. But really, I think that's all he really needs here. Struve is someone who's been knocked out 7 times, which is, pretty crazy there in 42 fights, I think. So, he's very, very chinny. If Struve wins, it's him getting a takedown. It's him finding a submission. And we'll talk about it a little bit more, but regardless, I do want both sides to this fight. I know it's a very ugly fight. I know it's a coin flip fight here, but I do think its score as well, regardless of how ugly it is. So I'm going to have a bunch here. We have Malkoun and Hawes here at minus 245. And this is another fight I see finishing. I could argue that I think Struve and Tuivasa and Malkoun and Hawes have a better chance of finishing than Jung and Ankalaev there. I do think those two fights are going to finish. More because like Hawes is someone who has finished 100% of his wins, and he's also someone that if he does not get that first round stoppage, he is going to slow down. So I could see kind of a Malkoun, maybe a late finish by Malkoun, maybe a decision by Malkoun. But if Hawes gets it done, it's going to be done early. So I do think that fight's going to finish. I do think you probably want both sides, but I'm definitely leaning on the Hawes side there. And we'll talk about it a little bit more, but I think Hawes is a very good play. Nurmagomedov versus Gaethje, minus 215. Another fight where I could see Khabib winning a decision here. But I could also see a late stoppage as well. Obviously, if Gaethje wins, it's probably going to be in either round 1, 2, maybe round 3 when he's fresh. But we'll talk about the matchup a little bit more. But I do want the target probably, I want to say, I'm going to be close to 100% on this fight. And I know Fight Metric last week, screwed a lot of people because Park landed like 300 strikes, something crazy like that, maybe more on John Phillips, and they gave him like 10 significant strikes, something crazy like that. And I mean, hopefully they don't do that with Khabib, because there's going to be a lot of on top. He's going to be on Gaethje a lot. He's going to be throwing a ton of strikes on Gaethje. Are they going to count those as significant strikes? Hopefully. If not, I still think Khabib's going to get multiple takedowns. And, Gaethje has that wrestling background, so I do think Gaethje's going to be able to get up a bunch. Khabib can, get multiple takedowns here. I can see a ton of takedowns in this fight. So, hopefully Fight Metric counts these ground strikes. But, man, it's really hard to trust them at this point. So we're going to start with the core plays here. Touched on it a little bit. Khabib Nurmagomedov, 9,200. I mean, just the takedown upside. He has multiple, advance upside as well. And I do think he gets it to the mat. I can see him kind of striking with Gaethje a little bit, just a, close distance. Try to get Gaethje up against the cage, take him down. And just doing it multiple times. I do think Gaethje is going to stuff some takedowns at first. I do think that Gaethje is going to be able to get up at first, but just after a while of Khabib grinding him down, I do think Khabib has the better cardio. And I know Gaethje showed really good cardio in that Tony Ferguson fight, but that was a fight where he was dictating the pace for the whole fight pretty much. And I know it's a completely different matchup with Khabib and Ferguson. I mean, Khabib's going to try to take you down. Ferguson gave Gaethje the game plan. He wanted to striking with him the whole time. So, yeah, Khabib I'm really high on at 9,200. Thinking maybe a 60-40, even maybe a 75-25, maybe a 65-35. I don't know what I'm going to do yet with this fight, but I do want a lot of Khabib. But I will have some Gaethje just in case he is able to find that knockout early on, and maybe he does, but I don't think it's in an all that likely scenario, because Khabib's not going to give him those opportunities as much as you'd like. But he could catch him, but I don't think it's all that likely. So give me Khabib. Going to have a lot of them, like I said, probably maybe like a 65-35 in favor of Khabib, maybe a 70-30 around that range. I've not decided what I'm going to do yet. Da Un Jung at 9,400. I like him to get this fight done. I think he's one of the safer plays on the slate. I know I see a lot of people on Sam Alvey. I don't get it. I mean, he's lost his last 4 fights. He's someone who's very slow, very, very low volume. And Da Un Jung is going to be doubling up his output. He lands like 7 significant strikes per minute compared to Alvey's 3.11. So, I mean, I think Da Un Jung can win a decision here. I think Da Un Jung can maybe even get a finish as well. He's shown great cardio. He's shown great durability. And, I mean, Alvey not getting finished by who was it? Ryan Spann. I think people are taking that into account a little bit too much there. I mean, man. Da Un Jung should get it done here. I don't see a path to victory for Alvey. I'm really struggling to find one. I mean, outside of Alvey landing a knockout shot, but even then, I don't think it's all that likely there. So, give me Da Un Jung to get it done. Going to have a decent amount of them. I think I'm going to put Da Un Jung in. I think I'm going to put him in cash as well. I do think it's a safe option. And as for Sam Alvey there, not going to have much. I'm going to let other people play that. I'm probably going to have maybe less than 5% Sam Alvey, something like that. Alexander Volkov, 8,600. This is interesting. I do think it will be kind of low owned. Volkov's not really a crazy finisher, but I do think there is finish potential here. He's someone that throws a lot of output. He does land almost 5 significant strikes compared to Walt Harris's 2.97. And output alone, I don't think is going to be enough to get in the optimal lineup. I do think he needs a finish. And I do think he can get one. I mean, he's finished 65% of his wins by knockout, 10% by submission with a 75% finish rate. Walt Harris has finished all of his wins 100% by knockout. And yeah, I mean, Walt Harris is someone who's going to come out fast, and he is going to slow down as the fight goes on. So I kind of can see Volkov picking him apart and probably getting a late, like a third round stoppage. But I do like Volkov to win this fight quite a bit. I think outside of a puncher's chance from Harris in the first couple of minutes, I think Volkov should get it done. I think Volkov is the much better fighter by a decent margin there. But you can't really count out Harris. He's someone who's very, very powerful. But, Volkov has actually a pretty solid chin. I know people, kind of call him chinny, but in 39 fights, he's only been knocked out twice. In Walt Harris's 21 fights, he's been knocked out 3 times. So I don't think the chin's all that bad. Give me Volkov here at 8,600. A heavyweight fight, I do think it has a decent shot of finishing here. So Volkov at 8,600 is not a bad play. And then getting an underdog here into the core plays, and Shavkat Rakhmonov. The line has came down a bunch. I believe this is a pick'em, and I can honestly see Rakhmonov being a slight favorite by the time the fight starts. And I like Rakhmonov here quite a bit. He's someone who's very exciting. He's someone who is making his UFC debut at 12-0, and he has finished all of his wins. 58% by knockout, 32% by submission. A very dangerous guy. And typically we kind of, worry about these UFC newcomers, but he's someone who's fought in a good organization. He's someone who's fought some, solid competition. So I'm not all that worried about that. And yeah, I think he's a really good underdog play, one of the best underdog plays on the slate because he has that upside. He's going to throw a decent amount of volume. And I'm not someone who's high on Oliveira. He's very low output, only lands 2.89 significant strikes per minute. And with that said, he also slows down as the fight goes on. It's not something you want to see. Rakhmonov has some pretty solid takedowns. I think he can get this onto the mat as well. Oliveira he's a very strong guy, but he does get taken down a decent amount of times. He only has a 61% takedown defense. I like Rakhmonov here. Going to have a solid amount of him. I'm going to have a solid amount of this fight in general. I do think this fight is going to be something that finishes. And, taking a look at the line here, if I can find it, Oliveira, Rakhmonov, plus 115, fight doesn't go to decision. Plus 115, I kind of disagree with that line. I mean, Rakhmonov has finished 100% of his fights. He's never went to decision. And Oliveira is a decent finisher himself. And he also has been finished a decent amount of times. So yeah, I think this fight has a solid chance to end inside the distance. Oliveira has finished 78% of his wins. He's lost by decision 4 times. He's lost by submission 3 times. He's been knocked out once as well. So yeah, I do think this is a fight you're going to want to target, especially in that 8,500, 8,700 price of both guys. I do think this has a decent likelihood of ending up on the optimal lineup. Getting into our GPP plays here, and Miranda Maverick at 9,300 is something I'm very, very interested in. Making her UFC debut, just watching tape on Jojo. I mean, she let Sarah Moras dominate her and ultimately ended up finishing her in the 3rd round. And she's someone who definitely slows down. Her striking's not great. Basically, her path to victory is an armbar from guard. I know she got it against someone like Belbita last fight, and I think I was like the only person on Jojo. I think I had a decent amount of Jojo last time, and she was like 11%, something crazy like that. So that was awesome. I'm glad she got that done, but this is not Belbita. This is Miranda Maverick, and she is very, very good on the mat. Watching tape on Maverick, I tried to go in there looking for some striking, thinking she could maybe keep this on the feet. And maybe she can. I think she can win a decision that way, but that's not what she does. She gets this to the mat. Very, very good wrestling, and when she's on the ground, very, very good ground game as well. Only concerns I have for Maverick is she does have questionable takedown defense, but when she is taken down, a very active guard, very, very active off of her back, throws up submission. She's able to get reversals, sweeps. And I just think Maverick's on a whole other level than Jojo. I don't think Jojo is anywhere near a UFC caliber fighter. And I know she got that armbar from guard victory, but that is a very, very unlikely scenario that happened there. And I know I picked that to happen, but that was because Belbita is someone who got submitted 3 times prior than that. And we could kind of, see that. And, Belbita did a bad thing in taking her down. And Maverick is someone who's never been submitted. She's fought solid competition. She's very young. She's improving each and every time. Her striking is improving each and every time. And I just like her a lot in this fight. I think there's a lot of upside as well. Fight Metric, I don't know what it is, but they tend to count these women's significant strikes a lot. They tend to keep a good watch for them. I mean, like I mentioned last week, Park got 10 significant strikes. I remember some women's fights where it doesn't look like they're landing much, but Fight Metric is like doubling what they're putting out. And I don't know what it is, but yeah, Maverick, I think she should be decently low owned. I don't know what it is, but I see a decent amount of people on Jojua. Can't tell you why, but I mean, Maverick's a fantastic play because of the takedown upside, multiple advance upside, and probably a finish upside as well. She's someone who has a decent finishing ability. Jojua has been finished twice, once by submission, once by knockout. Maverick has finished 67% of her wins by submission. None by knockout. I think she could possibly get a ground and pound victory, get Jojua out of there, but I do like Maverick quite a bit, going to have a solid amount of her. Jared Cannonier at 8,200. This is very interesting because I do think Robert Whittaker is the better fighter, but man, the chin of Whittaker is really not there. He's been dropped in like his last 4 fights, something crazy like that. I mean, he got dropped in his last fight against Darren Till. He got dropped a couple times against Adesanya. Yeah, I mean, Cannonier is going to be a very popular play. I think if I was to pick between Cannonier and Whittaker, I'd probably go on the Cannonier side because if there is a finish, it's probably from that Cannonier side. He is very, very dangerous. He's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage, which I really do like for him. And he's very powerful. So, man, I don't know. I'm going to have a solid amount of Cannonier here. I think Whittaker could be a decent lower-owned option. I think a lot of people are going to gravitate towards that Cannonier for that finish ability. He has finished 85% of his wins. Whittaker has been knocked out twice, and he's been dropped like 5-6 times in the past, like 5 fights, something crazy like that. So, yeah, Cannonier, I don't know how Whittaker is going to deal with that power. But if Whittaker does not get knocked out, I do think he can win a decision. But at that point, with no wrestling, or maybe he gets a takedown, but not much wrestling, no advances, how well will Whittaker score? Will that be enough to end up on the optimal lineup? I don't think so. So what I'm trying to say is, I think Cannonier, if anybody is to get on the optimal lineup in this fight, I think it's going to be from the Cannonier side because of how dangerous he is. So Cannonier is my preferred play because of that power, because of the Whittaker chin. And yeah, lots of upside there, but I do think it will be popular. But going to eat some of that chalk there with that Cannonier play. Wouldn't really go there in cash, but I guess it's fine. Decent output from both guys. I do think Whittaker is going to throw more, but Cannonier is going to be throwing the harder strikes. So yeah, it's a really good fight to target. Stefan Struve, 8,300. Touched on it a little bit. One of those ugly fights that are going to score well. Struve, although he doesn't have the best wrestling in the world and he doesn't really average many takedowns, he averages about 0.58 takedowns per 50 minutes. If he does get it to the mat, he has a very big advantage. Tuivasa doesn't really have nothing off the mat on the mat for Struve there. Tuivasa showed a decent get-up game, but it's going to be pretty tough to get Struve off of him if he does get him down. And I'm more on the Tuivasa side, but definitely can see a path to victory for Struve. Even if Struve's chin holds up, I think he can win a decision or even get a late finish. But yeah, it's something you want to play. I'm not in love with it, but I do think this fight scores well, so I'm going to be targeting it quite a bit. Phil Hawes, 9,100. This is probably one of my favorite tournament plays. Hawes is someone who likes to go in there and get it done early. Very good wrestler, very good power. He has finished 100% of his wins. And I think he has a good chance of winning here against Jacob Malkoun, someone who has 4 fights. I know he has some boxing experience. He looks decent, but Hawes should definitely get him out of there early. Should be low owned as well, because not many people know Phil Hawes, not many people know Jacob Malkoun, and I don't think many people are going to play him. And then there's a lot of options. Khabib's around him. That's going to take out a ton of ownership. I think some people will be on Miranda Maverick. I think Da Un Jung's going to have a lot of ownership as well. So I think Phil Hawes, Ankalaev's going to have some ownership. I think Phil Hawes could be like kind of the lone man out there. I think he'll be one of the lower owned plays in the 9,000s, which is crazy to think about because of how much upside he has. So I'm going to be all over it. Hopefully I'm way over the field on this play. I'm going to have a lot of Phil Hawes. I think this is a fight you want to target in general. I think it's a fight that's going to score very well, and I think it could be one of those tournament winning plays up in the 9,000s. Alex Oliveira, 8,500. So Rakhmanov's never been to decision. He has been rocked before. I think if Oliveira wins, it could be a finish here. Oliveira is someone who hasn't had a finish since like 2017 or 2018, but he is capable of getting a finish. I'm not picking him to win, but I do think this is a fight you want to target 8,500. I think if he wins, it could possibly be a finish there. So Oliveira is somebody I'm looking at. And I also think it'll be pretty low owned, because Oliveira typically does not score well on DraftKings because he's very, very low output. For him to be on the optimal lineup, he's going to need a finish here. Could he get it? I mean, maybe. So I will have some Alex Oliveira at 8,500. Live dogs, Tai Tuivasa. I touched on this fight. It's an ugly fight. It's going to score high. Heavyweight, low level. Someone's probably going to get a finish here, and I am leaning towards Tai Tuivasa getting that first round knockout. Struve's very, very chinny. Tai Tuivasa is going to look very good in that first round. If he does not get it done in the first round, he's going to lose most likely. But I am leaning towards him getting it done in that first round there. So 7,900 I think is a very solid play, very solid upside. You want to play those plays on DraftKings that have that first round upside, and Tai Tuivasa definitely has it. Same thing for Walt Harris. He's going to come out there in round 1 trying to get the finish. Does he get it? I think he could. I think it's not all that likely, but he's definitely capable of doing that. It wouldn't completely shock me. So Walt Harris is somebody I do want to target here, just for the knockout upside in that first round. So kind of Tuivasa and Walt Harris are kind of the same here. They both have that first round knockout upside. Both very good tournament plays, very good live dogs there. Nathaniel Wood, 7,500. First of all, I want to say this fight should be lined a lot closer. I think Wood is the better striker in this matchup. I do give the ground game advantage to Casey Kennedy, but this fight I feel like it's going to play out very close. I feel like it probably goes to decision as well. And I feel like it could score decently high also. So Nathaniel Wood at 7,500. I'm actually going to have a decent amount, and I don't hate Nathaniel Wood in cash at all, because I do think Kenny's not going to finish him. I know Wood is not the most durable guy. Kenny's not, the greatest finisher in the world, but I do see this probably going to decision. I think Wood can honestly even take that decision in a close fight. I think Wood can rack up multiple significant strikes throughout the 15 minutes. So I like Wood in cash. I like Wood as a tournament play as well. I think he has that upside, and I would not be shocked by the slightest if Wood did win. But the pick is going to be Kenny, but 7,500 is a little crazy. I think this is more of a 8,200, 8,000 matchup in my opinion. So yeah, Wood is a pretty solid live dog there. Ian Kudalaba, same thing with Tuivasa and Harris, another guy that if he gets it done, it's going to be in round 1, and these are the tournament plays we need to target here. So Kudalaba, 7,300. If he gets it done, optimal lineup. I don't see him winning really outside of the first round. He's going to slow down a ton if he does not get that finish, unless he comes in there with a changed game plan of slowing it down, being technical. First of all, I don't think he'll win doing that. Second of all, I don't think that's going to happen. He's a madman. So yeah, Kudalaba, not a bad play there as a live dog. Getting into the pump plays here, Justin Gaethje, 7,000. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I'm probably going to be like 65-35 Khabib, maybe 70-30 Khabib. But I do think Gaethje definitely has a shot. I'm not going to completely fade him here, as you shouldn't, because he's been on a roll. I know he hasn't fought the greatest competition. I mean, he knocked out Donald Cerrone. He knocked out James Vick. He knocked out Edson Barbosa. He knocked out Tony Ferguson. But this is a completely different matchup, so I don't think that Khabib's really going to give him many opportunities, but, one big shot is all it takes for Gaethje, and that's kind of what you're looking for here. 7,000, obviously, if he wins, it's going to be optimal. As for the stack in cash, I'm going to do it personally just because of the pricing. I mean, Khabib is going to have the multiple takedown upside. Gaethje's going to, last a decent amount, maybe till the later rounds, maybe even last to a decision, going to rack up some significant strikes. Maybe a reversal, maybe he gets a takedown himself. I don't know what his game plan is going to be coming in, but at 7,000, I think it's a good stacking option in cash. As for tournaments, I'm not going to stack it in tournaments because I do think I just can't find a scenario where this fight scores high from both sides. I can see, Khabib taking him down multiple times, grinding him down a little bit. If they strike with each other for 25 minutes, yeah, but that's, very, very unlikely of happening there. I don't think Khabib's going to go in there with the game plan of striking with Gaethje for 25 minutes. So, yeah, no stack for me in tournaments, but cash is a pretty good stack there. And it's weird. People don't really like stacking the main and cash. I mean, last week, I think Ortega was like 55% owned, something like that in cash, which was crazy. And the Korean Zombie was like 70% owned. So, I do think stacking the main and cash is a good idea this week. Some weeks it's not, but this week is pretty obvious there, especially with the pricing. All right, that's about it, guys. You can still become a member of my Patreon and receive full access to my statistical model there, my premium projections, GPP lineup percentages, my DraftKings article, and access to Discord. Have a bunch of guys in there. We talk fights on Saturday. We all seem to have a pretty good week last week, and hopefully another great week here for UFC 254. But that's about it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys can leave a like, subscribe if you have not yet, would appreciate that a ton. Make sure you guys comment down your DraftKings username as well. And tune into the live stream on Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, going over the weigh-ins, final thoughts, betting, DraftKings, all that good stuff. You guys can ask me any questions you want. And come hang out for like an hour, talk some fights. And that's about it, guys. And good luck on Saturday for UFC 254.